SADC International Relations and Foreign Affairs Ministers are in Pretoria today for the bloc's ministerial meeting. The meeting was opened by Council Chair and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Lindiwe Sisulu. It is expected to deal with matters of regional security as well as trade.
The 16 ministers from the member states of SADC are meeting. This is the Council of Ministers, an executive body of SADC that deals with implementing the resolutions and programs of SADC. And we have heard from the Minister of International Relations and Chairperson of that Council of Ministers, Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, as well as the Executive Secretary of SADC, Dr. Nthakoana Ngatane. She is the person who's responsible for the day-to-day running of this bloc. And from what we heard today, they have steered clear of mentioning countries with specifics in terms of how they view peace and stability in those countries, but of course the regional integration and industrialization that is expected to be happening in those countries. But Lesotho did come up only if to mention that there is a standby force that has been deployed there by SADC, and it is an indication that SADC is making strides towards contributing in peace and stability in the region. But the Executive Secretary again admitting that peace and stability is core to economic integration in the region. Now, this bloc has a new member, and that is the Comoros, but of course there are new ministers who are forming this Council of Ministers because Zimbabwe has gone through a transition, a political transition. We also have seen Angola having elections, and therefore there's a new minister there. But in Mozambique, the president has appointed new ministers, and of course in Zimbabwe there's a new minister. In Zambia there's a new minister. So these are just some of the changes. These ministers were welcomed here, including the Minister of South Africa, who is the chairperson of the Council of Ministers. Now, in terms of what we can expect to come out of this, as I say, nothing mentioned in terms of specifics to countries, but I think behind closed doors we might see Lesotho, the Democratic Republic of Congo, being discussed in this particular meeting. The other issue that was mentioned by the Executive Secretary of SADC, she talked about a project that was intended to have collaboration in the area of HIV/AIDS, and that was funded by Global Fund. The funding came to an end in December, and now countries are being urged to take over that project to ensure that those sites that are used to mitigate HIV/AIDS in the region, particularly with people who travel a lot, like your truck drivers and so on and so forth, are taken over by the country so that the project can be sustainable. But these are just some of the issues. We're here for 2 days, and we'll be keeping an eye on the meeting.